We have an important influence from the ocean nearby. We have the Cantabrian Sea and the Atlantic side by side. It cushions the cold a lot in the winter and the heat in the summer. In Biscay, we have an important microclimatic diversity because even if we have that sea, if we move a little further, a few kilometers from the sea, we have a rather abrupt orography with different altitudes. You can already see that Biscay is very different and makes us have small areas with weather conditions that can change in terms of warmer or cooler average temperatures as we go deeper or as we go up in altitude, or even changing our orientation. That gives us an important climatic diversity. We usually look for an orientation towards the south, southeast or southwest. We can say that the northern orientation may not be the most propitious because it's colder still, and that is a southeastern or southern orientation. We seek more hours of light and we look for more heat, which is interesting for our area. It's a bigger grain cluster, but it's a cluster in any case smaller than that of Ondarabi Suri-Seratia. And instead, the Ondarabi Suri-Seratia is a bigger cluster, but with smaller berries. Beyond the styles of the grape, here we look more for the profile of a plot, the weather, and the terroir. Let's say that we could plant the Ondarabi Suri in Cadiz or in another warmer area, and the result was going to be completely different. This project was started by Garicoit Riot in the year 1989, who worked together with the Basque government to make a Masal section of the Ondarabi Suri. And on the other hand, a side of the Basque government, with Atlantic grape varieties that could be interesting for our area.
Which ones are those?
Well, now we are working with Riesling, which has an interesting result for aging wines, and it gives a different point, and also the Petit Manseng.
Well, in the end we have the whole vineyard divided, even within the same plot, into microplots. This doesn't mean that they are different qualities, but that they have different characteristics of grapes to make wines with more aging, fresher wines, wines with more personality, and the little things that are more special for the top winery wines. For example, the artisar, small things that we already see in vineyard, and the grape that we like and that we don't want to lose, so we elaborate them separately.
You have monovarietals and also mixtures in the wines that you elaborate, I believe.
Yes, well, the variety is important, but for us it's secondary. We pay close attention to the terroir, to the soil, to the climate of each place, and to the concept of vintage. We find it beautiful. So with those things, those make our main terroir. And in the vintage, because every year it's nice that the wine taste is different, whether it comes from colder, warmer or drier years. And we play with all of that. We try to make wines personal using octothanose yeasts. There are some that spontaneously ferment. We make a wine that it's natural as possible, as with an orange wine, which spontaneously ferments with the skins.
One of them?
One in particular, a white carbonic maceration, and the wine is orange.
And now we are in the crianza room, and you make a diversity of crianza styles as well. Not only diversity in the vineyard, but in the production and aging. Can you explain it a little bit?
Well, once they have done the fermentation, depending on what your plot is, or what the wine it is, to crianza go those that we want them from a specific vineyard plot. We have a project called Paradisuac, which would be wines from a single plot. We also give them a different crianza. Then the artisar, which would be the wine that I mentioned before, that it always comes from a particular plot, that we see more character as it's made separately and undergoes crianza separately. For example, the Artisar 2017, which is the one that we are going to taste, been aged in 700-liter French oak barrels. And besides, this wine has something special that undergoes 15% brisado. A brisado is when white wine is made as if it were a red, that is, the grapes are crushed and then ferments with the skin and seeds, and acquires an orange hue.